Real estate agents will encounter foreclosure from time to time. In many situations, foreclosure is the most misunderstood of real estate transactions. You may have a client step into your office inquiring about buying a foreclosure or looking for a home that's priced very low because it is being sold by a bank. It's important to be able to explain to your would-be home buyers what foreclosure is, why it happens, and what it means to them, whether they are the homeowner or the home buyer. As may be expected, it is not as clear-cut as many think. In fact, it tends to be a very long process, and any cost savings associated with foreclosure in the eyes of a buyer is often diminished because of the legal hurdles in the way. Many believe that foreclosures are gold mines, when they could very well be significant problems. Of course, there are many opportunities for true profitability here as well. Here, we will talk about what foreclosure is and what it means to the legal transactions involved in buying and selling a home. Most importantly, we'll talk about your responsibilities as a real estate agent to communicate with your buyer about what foreclosures mean to them. They will have questions. It's your job to ensure your clients know exactly what happens when they default on a loan as well. What does the term foreclosure mean? Foreclosure is a term used to describe the process of taking possession of a home with a mortgage when the mortgager, the homeowner, fails to maintain his or her payments on their home loan. It's important for home buyers to recognize this is a very real threat to them if they purchase a home without solid financial means to repay the loan. Now, that's not to say that the foreclosure process is simple. Depending on where a property is located, it can be quite complex and take months to process. Yet, the end result tends to be the same. If the homeowner does not have the means to continue to make payments and catch up any late payments and debt owed, the lender will eventually pursue foreclosure and take ownership of the home or force the sale of the property. How is this done? There are several methods. Methods of foreclosure. Generally speaking, foreclosure processes are outlined and governed by state laws. These laws spell out the specific steps required for the lender to take in order to foreclose on a property. This is nothing new to the home buyer, though. At the time of signing the mortgage contract, the buyer of the home agrees to the terms he or she must meet in order to maintain the loan and avoid foreclosure. In other words, your home buyer is agreeing to the foreclosure process at the time he or she obtains a home loan for the purchase of a home. That's why he or she must understand what's involved here. Let's break down the three methods of foreclosure commonly present and used. Which one is used is dependent on state law, or in some cases local law, or mortgage agreements made in advance. Judicial foreclosure. Judicial and non-judicial foreclosures are the two most common forms of foreclosure. The simplest breakdown of the two is that judicial foreclosure goes through the court system, while the non-judicial foreclosure is handled by a third party. Many states require that all foreclosures go through the court system, but others allow for this not to be a requirement. Judicial foreclosure states include Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Hawaii, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, New Jersey, New Mexico, in some cases, New York, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, in some cases, if homeowner requests it, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, South Dakota, in some cases, if homeowner requests it, Vermont, Wisconsin. Judicial foreclosure is most common. Here's how the process works. The lender takes the first step in approaching the court to get the foreclosure process started. The court will require the lender to send various letters and notifications. There are often waiting periods. Ultimately, the lender will work to meet all court requirements before the process is finalized. Here's a breakdown of what commonly happens. The home buyer gets behind on his or her home loan payments. Your homeowner can face foreclosure even if he or she only misses one payment. In most cases, the wait for this process is a bit longer. The lender sends the homeowner a letter informing them of the intent to foreclose on the property. The letter outlines what the homeowner must do to avoid this, generally paying all late payments, fees, and interest to catch up on the loan. When this does not occur, the lender files a notice of a lawsuit. This may be a summons or a complaint that is given to the homeowner stating the lender's actions to foreclose. This is being served by the lender. The lender gives the homeowner a chance to respond. This is when the court begins to impose specific requirements. In some cases, there is a period of 15 to 30 days for the homeowner to respond. The homeowner may contest the process or argue the lawsuit. The homeowner is not required to file a response. The lender holds the burden of proof, which means it needs to prove the actions are justified. If a homeowner does not respond, in most cases, the foreclosure will go through. In this case, the court will issue a default judgment against the homeowner, allowing the lender to sell the home. If the homeowner does not respond, the homeowner is given an opportunity to tell the judge why they should maintain legal right to keep the property and prove the foreclosure is not warranted. The lender is given a chance to correct any problem that caused the homeowner complaint. Generally, this process can buy the homeowner time, but unless the loan is paid up to date, it's likely the foreclosure will continue. At this point, the lender is given the right to sell the property, unless the court rules in favor of the homeowner to keep the property provided the homeowner meets any terms set by the court to do so. The lender will send a notice of intent to sell the home. The only way to redeem the mortgage at this point is to catch up all payments, sell the home, or pay it off in full. This generally will include the foreclosure costs. The property is auctioned. If there are no buyers at the auction, the ownership of the home transfers to the lender. The lender can then place the home for sale or hold on to it, depending on its needs. The process of judicial foreclosure generally takes between 3 and 4 months, sometimes longer. However, as long as the lender maintains ownership of the property, there is no immediate need for the homeowner to move. In fact, he or she can remain on the property, living in it without making a mortgage payment, until a written and official eviction notice is sent. This may be months if the lender plans to hold on to the property until the market improves. In all cases, though, The foreclosure process ends with the court granting ownership of the property to the lender, unless the homeowner can redeem him or herself. Nonjudicial foreclosure. As noted previously, a nonjudicial foreclosure is a second type. Here, the court is not involved in the same manner. This type of foreclosure, though, will still result in the home's ownership changing hands. Nonjudicial states include Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, District of Columbia, Georgia, Idaho, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Mexico in some cases, North Carolina, Oklahoma. Homeowners can elect for judicial foreclosure here. Oregon, Rhode Island, South Dakota. Homeowners can elect for a judicial foreclosure here. Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wyoming. As a real estate agent, it is important to understand the specific requirements in the operating state. That is, agents must know whether judicial or non-judicial laws are in place, and how that impacts their home buyers down the road if default occurs. In states with non-judicial foreclosure, the home buyer signs a series of documents at the time the home is purchased. This includes a promissory note and a deed of trust. A deed of trust document will turn the promissory note into the debt that is secured by the lien on the property. This process creates a legal claim to the property by the lender should the homebuyer default on the loan. This deed of trust gives the lenders the right to foreclose on the property when the buyer fails to make payments according to the terms of the loan. Additionally, the deed of foreclosure gives the lender the right to proceed outside of the court system for the foreclosure. The states still establish laws that will be followed during the legal procedure, including how much time the homeowner has to respond to claims and how the property is sold. It also provides the rights of the homeowner to have the loan reinstated should certain terms be met. Take a look at how the legal process occurs in a non-judicial foreclosure. There's generally very little time for a homeowner to take action, since the foreclosure sale can occur much faster outside of the court. A notice of sale is given, in some cases, as the first step. Some states require this notice to be given to the homeowner in person, while others require it simply to be posted in a newspaper or at the courthouse. The notice of default and notice of sale are two common notices required by some states. These are formally written documents that state the loan is 30 days past due, in most cases, but it can be less, and that the house will go up for auction. Most often, there is only a month given to the homeowner prior to the auction. The homeowner at this point must determine if he or she wants to pay the loan off in full or otherwise meet the obligations of the lender to reinstate the loan. With very few opportunities for delay, the homeowner may be unable to do so. The auction occurs. If the property does not sell, the home becomes the legal property of the lender. Some states provide the right to redeem, giving the property owner time to meet specific requirements set by the lender to redeem the property, such as paying it off in full after the foreclosure and auction occur. It's important to tell your home buyer that the foreclosure here is much faster, involving just a matter of 2 or 3 months. Deed in lieu of foreclosure. A third type of foreclosure really isn't a specific method. In this situation, the homeowner is unable to make payment on the loan. He or she may have tried to get the lender to work with the repayment plan or forbearance, but have been unable to achieve any methods of getting the loan caught up. The homeowner still wants to avoid the foreclosure process. He or she is faced with either a short sale, more on that in a bit, or a deed in lieu of foreclosure. These are two similar transactions, but they can be very different in terms of how they are processed. As a real estate agent, you may not have much hands-on experience with these, but you will encounter short sales. In many cases, short sales, on the other side of the transaction, can become one of the more challenging situations for you as you try to help home buyers purchase these or help lenders sell them. First, let's talk about what happens with a deed in lieu of foreclosure. Often, individuals will try to sell their home through a short sale to avoid the foreclosure process. But, for various reasons, this does not happen. This is when the homeowner may approach the lender to request this process. A deed in lieu of foreclosure is a legal transaction in which the property owner will transfer the title of that property to the lender. In exchange for this outright ownership, the homeowner is released from the home loan obligation. In short, the homeowner wants to hand over ownership of the property to the lender to get out from the mortgage. This may seem like a win-win situation. However, lenders are not in the business of owning homes. Generally, they do not want to own homes because this reduces any type of actual profit they can make on the property. For this reason, lenders may not agree to the terms of a deed in lieu of foreclosure. Here's how the process will work in most cases. The homeowner and borrower will request loss mitigation from the lender. This initial process is an opportunity for the lender and the homeowner to find better terms for the loan, if possible, that helps the homeowner to continue to make payments on the loan. There is an application for the homeowner to fill out, and documentation is required, showing the borrower's financial state. The borrower will need to prove his or her case for the situation. Financial statements, questionnaires, tax returns, proof of income, and a hardship letter are often required. The lender then decides whether or not to move forward with the process. In some cases, the lender may require that the homeowner try to sell the home on the open market for a period of 30 to 90 days. This would produce the best outcome for the lender and the homeowner if possible. If the home does not sell, the lender may agree to the deed in lieu if it believes that this is best for its benefit, not that of the homeowner. The lender may agree to do so simply because the foreclosure process is very expensive in many cases. Those expenses come from the lender's pocket. If it goes through, the lender will send documents requiring the homeowner to transfer ownership to the lender. An estoppel affidavit is a document that will include a provision that the homeowner is acting freely and voluntarily through this process. The home transfers hands. In a moment, we'll discuss what happens to the leftover balance on the loan. This is called deficiency. For now, though, realize that this legal process generally can take 3 to 6 months or longer. During that time, the lender may elect to pursue foreclosure actions if there are delays. Redemption in foreclosure. So far, we've discussed several ways in which the lender can take ownership of a property. However, throughout this process, we've discussed some specific times when a homeowner can redeem him or herself. Again, agents need to understand what redemption is, though most will not have to handle this part of the process directly. Throughout the foreclosure process, the lender often gives the borrower the ability to get caught up on the loan. The lender may be required to do this. This is a specific amount of time given to the current homeowner to make the mortgage obligation current. The borrower can do this in various ways, such as paying off the debt and all fees. When this doesn't happen, the lender continues with foreclosure, court approved or not. However, some states give the homeowner one last opportunity to redeem the home. The right of redemption comes before or sometimes after the foreclosure. How can the home be redeemed? The homeowner pays off the debt in full. This includes the entire amount borrowed, the principal, as well as any additional costs and interests. This is done prior to the sale of the property. It stops the foreclosure actions. Or, the homeowner can pay off the purchase of the home, plus additional costs and interests, after the foreclosure of the home. This will allow the homeowner to reclaim the loan. All states require redemption to be available to the homeowner prior to the sale of the home. Not all states allow for redemption to be required after the sale, though. Some states allow for a statutory right of redemption. This is a law that gives the homeowner the ability to have more time to redeem the property after the sale of the home. The statutory right of redemption is given this name because the state sets the amount of time given after the sale to redeem the property. This means the homeowner has a specific amount of time after the foreclosure occurs to reclaim the property by paying the foreclosure sale price of the home as well as additional costs. It gives the homeowner more time to get funds together to purchase the home and, in many cases, gives them more time to live on the property before the eviction happens. This may range from just 30 days to as much as 2 years, depending on state laws. Deficiency judgments in foreclosure. Deficiency judgments are another component of the foreclosure process. They come into play after the foreclosure occurs. Some individuals may believe that allowing the home to go to foreclosure clears them of all obligation of the debt they promised to pay, the home loan. That's not always the case. When working with your home buyers, it is important to speak to them about this risk as well, as it is a component of the agreements they make when buying the home. In some cases, the homeowner may still owe money to their lenders even after the foreclosure sale occurs. How does this happen? It's often a shock to homeowners to learn that they may still have to pay their lender even after they lose their home to foreclosure. Let's say the home goes through the foreclosure process. It is sold for less than the amount the homeowner owes on the mortgage. What happens then? This is the deficiency. For example, The home goes to sale and is sold for $200,000. But the homeowner still owes $250,000 on the property. That $50,000 is the deficiency, and, in many states, the homeowner is required to pay that amount to the lender. Now, states have various rules about deficiencies. These differ widely, but as an agent, you should learn more about your state's specific rules on deficiency. If the state allows for the lender to do so, it can take the homeowner to court to require the deficiency to be paid. This too can be a drawn-out process with various results. A handful of states protect homeowners from deficiencies, but many do not. In most non-judicial foreclosure states, the lender is unable to cover the funds associated with a deficiency without first creating a separate lawsuit against the homeowner. This often limits how the lender will go after this type of judgment, unless the amount is substantial. In judicial foreclosure states, however, the lender can seek out a deficiency judgment as a component of the foreclosure process. There's also the impact of fair market value to consider. Many states have in place a limit on what the lender can try to obtain through a deficiency judgment. For example, if the property's fair market value is significantly less than what the borrower owes, the state may limit the lender's ability to collect the difference between the fair market value and the home's sale price. For example, if the home loan is worth $250,000, but the home is worth $225,000 and sells for $200,000, the lender is only able to go after the $25,000 difference. Also, point out to home buyers, when asked, that in either case of a foreclosure or a short sale, the lender is being forgiven for part of the loan. This can create an IRS obligation. It's important that they speak to their tax professional about this. The short sale. Another opportunity for a homeowner to get rid of a home is through a short sale. The short sale, as noted previously, is not an easy process. As you will learn, as a home seller, short sale purchases are difficult from both perspectives because the lender truly holds the cards and does not have to make any decisions. Let's say a homeowner is unable to make payments on his or her home or is struggling to do so. They have not entered the foreclosure process yet, but anticipate further financial difficulties. They may want to sell their home to get out from the mortgage debt they owe, but their home may not be worth as much as they owe on it. What's to be done? A short sale happens when a property owner sells the home to a third party, but does so at a rate that is less than what the total debt remaining on the home loan is. They are selling the home short. The lender must agree, though, to accept the proceeds from the sale in exchange for allowing the homeowner out of the lien on the property. As you can likely see, this is limitedly available since the lender outright loses money. How does it happen? The lender will work through the loss mitigation process to determine if a short sale is advisable. Remember, the lender wants to find out if this is the best move to make for their benefit, not the homeowner. In order to be approved for a short sale, the homeowner will need to submit a loss mitigation application, along with financial statements and questionnaires, proof of income, tax returns, bank statements, and a hardship letter proving that they cannot continue to make payments. Lenders will not pursue this method unless there is an offer on the table. This is where it becomes difficult as a real estate agent with a buyer interested in a short sale. The lender must receive an offer and then approve it, a process that can take a great deal of time. Even with everything on the table, the lender may not approve the short sale, putting the homeowner in the position to keep making payments or face potential foreclosure. Wrapping up, the foreclosure process differs significantly from one state to the next, but in all cases, it comes down to a process of requiring the homeowner to take every step possible to make good on their promise to pay the loan according to the originally agreed terms. It's quite common for foreclosure to occur today, though market conditions have improved. Nevertheless, real estate agents should be able to warn buyers to avoid this process. And, when selling a home listed as a foreclosure or short sale, agents will need to inform their buyer of the extended timetable in the transaction. More so, these properties are not always good deals in which the buyer will end up with a significantly low-priced property. Foreclosure tends to be a legal nightmare for all involved. Avoiding this type of outcome is nearly always a better situation.